Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the French Tier 8 Premium Medium Tank, the AMX CDC, or as you can see in these replays, the CDC Black. Now the AMX CDC actually got buffed a wee while ago during it was one of the reforges anyway. It got buffed and it received some pretty damn nice buffs for the tank. And it really helped it to feel just that little bit nicer to play. Does it have any armor? Or does it have any more armor than it had? No. It's still absolute paper. It's still very HUable. But just it brought everything else about the tank into the 2023, essentially. Into 2022, 2023. It made it just that little bit nicer to play. The gun handling got better. The dispersions got nicer, because one thing that this gun had all the time was the fact that the gun handling was very, very troll, and when you're on, the on-the-move dispersions, turret dispersions, etc., were very, very old school, and it just meant that this gun was very unwieldy, and it was really annoying for a tank that had no armor, essentially, because you'd have to spend time aiming to make sure that you guaranteed that the shot was going to hit, and you'd have to really make sure that you were aiming that shot in, and then you'd get the hit in, and a lot of the time that would lead to potentially getting hit. So what did get buffed? Well, as you can see, the 90mm, the aim time got buffed from 2.2 to 1.8. Absolutely amazing change for the CDC. That is a huge buff. That means that this gun is pretty much aimed in very, very quickly all the time. The DPM got buffed, so the reload got buffed from 7.3 to 6.4, nearly a whole second off the reload, which means it now has like, what, as you'll see when it loads, 4.7 second reload, which is fantastic. The accuracy from 0.34 to 0.32, which again helps with that little bit of derpiness that the gun liked to put on you. The turret dispersion penalty, so the turret dispersions were from 0.16 to 0.1, which again is massive. The dispersions on turning and rotation went from 0.2 to 0.16. Well, yeah, on rotation as opposed to on turning the turret. We've already seen that. And the terrain resistances got buffed as well from 1.5, 1.7 and 3 to 0.8 to 1.1 and 1.7. Massive buffs to the terrain resistances again. And your rotation speed went from 40 degrees a second to 46. Massive, massive buffs for the CDC. Those terrain resistances are lovely now. It means that this tank feels far more nimble. And add to that the rotation speed on the tracks. This tank just feels far more mobile than it was, and it really helps to solidify that flanking medium playstyle it has, as well as the fact that the gun will now be aimed in a lot quicker and a lot nicer, and you will be firing a hell of a lot quicker. You can really dish out the damage so quickly with this CDC, and it's definitely brought it up to scratch. Will it, like I say, will it still get HE'd all the time? Yes, but it's far more playable, far more enjoyable than it was, and instead of being old school left in the dirt, it's now actually somewhat pretty damn usable. In terms of a crew on the CDC that I run, and by the way, you just saw the armor get absolutely shredded there. Yeah, in terms of a crew, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Muffled Shot, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun. The 3 gun perks make the gun as good as humanly possible, although realistically these days with the CDC you might not even have to run something like Snapshot. You could run something else to make like the turret traverse better with Rapid Aim, or anything really, to be honest. It's down to you. And then the camo perks to make the camo on this tank as good as it can be, because you can now just buff up the camo to be pretty damn nice. And in fact, I run stuff like Run and Gun and Snapshot because I don't run vertical stabilizers anymore, because you don't really need it that much. And that is, in terms of the equipment, I run Advanced Loader, Camo Net, and Optics. Optics to be able to spot for myself, the Camo Net to make my camo as good as it humanly can be, and the Advanced Loader naturally because you want to make the DPM as good as you can have it, because it's always an asset for a medium tank to have that really good DPM. And like I say, if you also have the camo set up like that, you are just basically making it so that you're very hard to spot for the enemy team, and that way you can stay on spotter, and especially because you don't have the armor, you can then stay on spotter for longer, dish out more damage, and, not lose too many hit points. And with the camo setup like that, with the camo net and the camo perks, you do have 273 meters of still concealment, which is, again, absolutely lovely. Means that you'll be able to stay unspotted in a lot of bush locations, dish out the hurt with your fantastic DPM, and not take too many hits. Because that's what you want to try and do when you're in the CDC. You want to try and minimise the amount of shots you're taking, because every shot that hits you will hurt you. And you also get set on fire a decent amount too, so you've got to be very, very careful of that. In this first game, you can see we're up to 2.7k damage and 3.1k assistance. We managed to get a little bit on that UDES there. We ended up losing most of our hit points earlier because I decided a little bit too soon to push down to where we are now to see if I could light up everything at the back. We did light everything up, but we also lost all of our hit points, which is very, very awkward. We end up getting spotted and detected here, and it's like, oh god, wait, we're spotted and detected, what by? There it is, the IS-2. We end up lighting both the IS-2 and the Scorpion G up. They get, well, yeah, they get absolutely shredded. We finish off that Scorpion G. Now it's just the artillery and the medium tank in the corner. We end up lighting the Barask up, who ends up firing. We get a nice shot on the move into that Barask, and this is, again, without vertical stabilizers. You can see RBRT, it worked perfectly fine. We spot the artillery up. We get a shot into him as we're moving through. Please let me finish you off without derping me. Thank you very much, Mr. Artillery. Now we're coming in for the final shot into this Barask, and we get rid of that Barask. And finish the game with a really nice total for the CDC Black. Finish with 3.6k damage. The victory, 2.3k base XP with the 5 kills and 3.6k assistance. Ace Tanker, Patrol Duty, Scout Medal, High Caliber, the Confederate. 2.3k base XP, and what's that? Nearly, what, about 7.5, nearly 8k combined for a tier 8 medium tank. Pretty damn nice game. And yeah, naturally, if you do take the CDC Black, the reason I'm playing the CDC Black is because this got buffed just like the standard CDC, but I 3-marked the standard CDC ages ago because I hate 3-marked it. I 3-marked it so that I never had to play it again. But then they buffed it, and they made it actually pretty okay. But if you do get the CDC Black, as well as having the silver bonus that the premiums get, you also get 175 tank XP bonus too, so you get basically way more XP with this CDC, well, with any of the Black Edition tanks, but especially like the CDC Black. But yeah, the CDC is definitely a lot nicer to play now. I mean, you got that 4.7 second reload, the accuracy is down at 0.26, you got 1.66 second aim time with the setup that I'm running, which just means, and with the accuracy during rotation at 0.81 and 2.3 accuracy during movement, you're just pretty much always aimed, which means you can really maximize this 3k DPM that this tank has, and you can just keep pushing out the damage so fast. And obviously having 273 meters of still concealment as well with this setup is really just, you stay unspotted so often, it's so nice. You really have to use this camo to your ability, best of your ability if you can. And also you got 500 meters view range with this setup as well, which means you're basically almost like a light tank. You're a big, long light tank, but you're almost like a light tank at this point. And with that 57 km/h top speed, you do hit it as well, which means you are speedy boy and you really can play that flanking playstyle. So as you can see, we're in the second game, and we are on Nomini Nom. We're on No Man Han, and we are spotting the enemy team currently. They're on the other ridge, and we're just pushing out the damage as much as we can because they have not pushed down this B line. There is no one lighting me up. So we're just going to farm into this hammer as much as we can, as many shots as we can get into him. He's now moving out of our view range though, which means it's not long before he will disappear. He does disappear, we time it, we wait 1, 2, 3, try and get the shot into him as he's running away, but actually he was out of render range there, and we couldn't quite get the shot into that hammer to finish him off. But we're just going to move up because there's nothing along this A line. So it's like, you know what, okay, we're going to move up and see if we can spot anything else that's chilling on these ridges. We end up spotting the Samoa SM there. He doesn't light us up, which is quite good. And we're just going to try and manoeuvre ourselves into a position where we are underneath his gun line so that he can't just clip us out, because the Samoa SM has 1500 clip potential. He can clip us out. And I'm going to try and manoeuvre myself into a position on this little ridge here to try and get some shots into the back of this heavy tank at B4. But actually, the Black Prince was behind cover. I didn't think that I'd poked up enough for that Sturmpanzer to shoot me in the side of the turret. And unfortunately, we took a very big HE hit in the back of the turret there from that Sturmpanzer. We then take a hit from the medium tank down there. The artillery misses us. This Samoa looked like it was possibly coming for us, but we're going to take the opportunity to try and get a shot into that GW Panther, which we do. No one's really pressuring us at this point, so we're going to do it again because we want that guy to go. But now the Samoa SM is coming for us. We do have a few people behind us. I'm just trying to ping and say, help me! Don't let him kill me! And thankfully, they're starting to try and shoot at it. We do ricochet off the turret of the Samoa SM because while it does look like a 5100, it's got far more armor than a 5100. We're aiming for that cupola every time on top of his turret, which we do get the shot in that time. We have enough hit points where we can take one hit from him, so we can play with fire, essentially. We spot the Black Prince, or should I say the Black Prince is spotted, and we poke up and see he's just looking at us. Get a nice shot into his lower plate. Now that Samoa's given us his side, we're just playing with fire. We're not giving time for them to aim. We're just poking up, firing, pulling back. Now the GW Panther's doing... well, I don't know what the GW Panther's thought process is here, but it's like, well, okay, let me just finish you off then. Good night, sweet prince. Good night. And we get rid of that artillery. We're up to 3.1k damage, and we're just going to poke over and see if we can get a shot into the T-43, but we couldn't quite get the gun over. Now there's an SU-130 PM coming for us, and I'm thinking, oh god, I'm dead here. Thank God he fired on the move as he came over. He missed, which means he's absolutely boned now. And it's like, good night, Mr. SU-130 PM. I have no idea. Well, I know what you were thinking. You can finish me off on one shot. Really should have aimed. And thankfully, we got rid of that guy. We try and get a shot of RBRT into the Sternpanzer, but unfortunately, we just hit his gun. But we do manage to finish him off with an actual aimed shot because we didn't potato aim it. As you can see, by the way, with a food boost, you've got a 4.3 second reload, which is absolutely nutty at tier 8. And yeah, when you boost with food for that 30 seconds, you do just shred. Yeah, absolutely shred tanks with the DPM that this tank has. So now we've maneuvered ourselves into a better position to get shots into this T-43. He was playing earlier on, but I don't know if he still is, because he did shoot at it. He is turning his turret, so he's definitely there. And we end up shutting that guy down. I have no idea what he was doing. We're up to 5k damage. This Black Prince is still in a fairly awkward spot for us to shoot. And there's still the Samoa in front of us. I'm thinking, okay, you know what, I kind of want to get rid of this Samoa. He is a one-shot, so we're just going to go in and get rid of him. But the Chrysler K ends up shutting him down. We're going to drive sideways out to see if we can get a shot into this UDES 03, because I thought maybe he was looking at the heavy tank. But in fact, he was looking directly at me, which means we're now a one-shot, and this Black Prince could shut us down if we're not careful. We do get a nice shot there into the Black Prince. I'm quite surprised I penned that. We ricochet off the side of his turret, though, so we load the premium rounds, which have 259 penetration, because we can go through the side of the turret of the Black Prince with 259 penetration like that. And we get rid of that Black Prince. We're up to 4 kills, 5.5k damage, 634 assistance. And there's still 5 tanks left on the enemy team. So we're going to poke up and see if we can spot this SU-100M1 out in the open, which we do. Try and get the shot into him, but unfortunately it's a bit of an awkward shot and we end up hitting the dirt. We do get the shot into the side of his superstructure though. Now there's an LTG coming, and we are a one-shot for that LTG, I'm pretty sure. I think he has 160 alpha. I'm pretty sure he has that on that light tank, which means that he can... yeah, he can. In fact, he's got 180 alpha, which means he can finish us off in one shot guaranteed. So we do have to be very, very careful when poking that man. And like I said, because this tank has no armor, it's very easy for people to just snap you. So we poke over, get a shot into the side of the LTG's turret, puts us up to 6,000 damage. And we're going to just see if we can get another shot in. We play with fire again. You can see I just snap the shot so that we don't get hit from him. The UDES is running away, so we get a shot into him as he's running, waiting for the reload to hopefully shut him down, but don't quite get that. Now the LTG's there, we get a shot into him, and unbeknownst to us, the Patriot appears out of nowhere and shuts us down. But unfortunately, we're finished with the victory, and we're finished with 4 kills, 6.5k damage, 771 assistance, the Ace Tanker, the Confederate, the High Caliber, 2.3k base XP. A really nice game for the CDC Black there. It's unfortunate that that Patriot snuck up and managed to kill us, because we were on for a lot more damage in that game if we could try and farm it. But we lost our hit points stupidly in a few situations, and that meant we couldn't get any more out of it. But yeah, the CDC, it got buffed, and it's made it hella nice to play. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success.